Okay, so I'm going to talk through this morning's trades because we have brilliant examples of both of my entries. So a lower time frame entry, which is here, and then also the higher time frame entry, or the monthly extreme, should I say? So this entry here is the lower time frame entry. So we want to have an area of interest priced to extend against the trend with volume, and then have a double break of structure. So here we had our area of interest. I put the message in the Telegram saying I'm looking out for EU longs if we come down and had a double break of structure. So what I'm looking at when every time I come to the screen is where are we in relation to the most recent range. So for instance here, from this high to this low, we're in a range here. From this high to this low, we're in a range here. But what I'm looking at is the range that was created from New York. So you can drag it up and we can just look at it as just for visual purposes, premium or discount. So if we're buying, we want to be buying in the lower half. If we're selling, we want to be selling in the upper half. So then I'm literally waiting for price to extend to one of these areas. So once we extended down into here, this is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see volume coming into the low. I'm just gonna get rid of that now. So volume coming down, enticing traders short. So we want fast movement. Even better if we get a fair value gap like this. So we get a gap created. Because again, if this gets inverted, this is confirming or strongly increasing the probability that this reversal is going to occur. So we get volume into the low, 31, 40, 50. And then here we have the shift. So we have the shift on the 15-minute candle, our first break of structure, followed by our second break of structure. So I just entered into the GBP NZD trade around this time here. So I did not enter here. After then equities took us low and we broke structure again. This is where I ended up hitting the trade. So not the best RR on this one, but it is the lower time frame setup exactly. So we're in a discount of the range, just to cover that. This is what we always want to do. We always want to be in a discounted area. So if we're taking a buy, we want to be taking it at an area down here. And then the area of interest. So we have first thing, which is where are we in the range? We're in the discounted area. Then where are we actually taking the trade? So we're taking. So yesterday I marked out and sent into the group longs if we close above here. So we closed above and we came back down to retest it. So we're testing this area here, this support and resistance zone, you could say. It's basically just the edge of the range. Acts as static support and resistance. And then we have the dynamic support and resistance, which is the EMA. So we've got two areas of support beneath us. We're in a discount, so we're in the bottom half of the range, and then we have our lower time frame entry. So this is a trade that I will hit every day of the week. And regardless of the result, I'll come back and I'll hit this again tomorrow because this has edge. We're at an area of interest, we're in a discount zone, and we've waited for extra confirmation on the lower time frames. So very happy with this trade. And again, I do not care about the result at all because I'm happy with the criteria that we entered on. So now I will talk you through the second trade that I'm in. This one I really like as well. So let's have a look at this. So same principles, just this one has an extra piece of data, which is the monthly extreme. So again, if we're looking at the range, where are we in the range? Are we up high or are we down low? We can clearly see that if this is the range here, we can use any of these ranges, bearing in mind this is where subjectivity comes in. We're inside this range here. We're also inside smaller ranges, so we're also in this range here, etc. But regardless of which range we're looking at, we can see that we're in the discounted area. So if we're looking for a buy, we're already in the area. Then what I want to see when it comes to the monthly is I really want to see price extend to the extreme. So same way that Euro USD extended to the low of the day, GBP NZD has extended with volume to the low of the month. After we extend to the low, so ideally we want volume into the low, then we want sideways behavior. So we've extended to the low, we've pierced out, we want sideways behavior, and then I'm looking for a 1 hour breakout structure. So extended to the low, broke out of the previous or the monthly extreme, and then broke structure on the inside. So we had this breakout structure here. This is the first breakout structure. So now, but we don't have the sideways behavior yet. We just have a breakout structure. So I want price to actually continue to go sideways. Then today, if we drop down to lower time frames, what we had was we had this range created. So we have our sideways behavior. This is the coil that we want to see initially. And then we want to see volume into the low and then break structure. So same principle again, just we want volume in the opposite direction to the direction that we want to trade, because the volume gets traders, it gets money into the market. And again, we can see not too big of a gap here, but we have a slight gap left here, volume into the low, and that immediately gets inverted. So once that got inverted, I waited then for a second breakout structure. So always wait for a second breakout structure. So we had our first breakout structure, and then I waited till we engulfed again, boom, and then I hit that. So this one, deep stop loss, because this is the monthly extreme. So I'm looking to take this to the minimum, at least to the 200 EMA. So here you can see. So I'm anticipating that this is going to be the extend to the low of the month, go sideways, and then have the pullback, the pump. So the reason that I will take it to here is if we're looking at the range. So let's say this is the range here. Structurally, on the higher time frames, we're actually bearish because we've just broken structure to the downside. What we've done is then we've actually broken out and then pulled back inside to the range. So even if we do continue bearish, my anticipation is that we'll at least come to the 50% level. There we go, that's the range. So even if we are to continue to the downside, there's a high probability that the retracement will come to at least 50%. So that 50% level lines up nicely with the 200 EMA, hence why that is my take profit. So volume into the low, we can see here. This looks the same as EU looked. Volume into the low of the range, liquidated, and then broke structure. So now we're inside this range, we've gone sideways, and then we got our lower time frame entry. And then Euro USD, same thing, volume into the low, double breakout structure. Cool, that is the two entries explained. We can keep updated on how these positions roll.